I'm Elizabeth HeartStar, Astro-Oracle, living in Sedna, Arizona for 33 years. I began studying astrology when I was 16, that was 1968, and it's been my passion ever since then, studying with some amazing astrologers, especially Dane Rudyard, who many astrologers know, who really opened up what it is today. Now there are so many astrologers. It's so beautiful because back in the 60s, there weren't very many astrologers that I knew of. So this is the beginning of the Aquarian Age. I believe that the Aquarian Age really began in 2020 on 12/21/2020. That's the winter solstice, when the two planets Saturn and Jupiter went into 0 degrees of Aquarius. And the 0 degrees is, of course, the beginning degree, or the 0 point, really. It really is the new beginning of the Aquarian Age. And I believe that it really began, the cusp was from the 1700s, is back that far. Because when you're talking about ages, it's not like it's a few years, it's hundreds of years. So I believe it started on winter solstice of 2020 when Jupiter and Saturn were at 0 Aquarius, and even on the news it was like the Star of Bethlehem. That's what they called it. You know, go out and look. And it was the Star of Bethlehem, actually, back in the day, that the Magi followed for the beginning of the Piscean Age. And it was probably, I don't know if it was 0 Pisces then, but this is always the bringing of a new foundation for the Earth, Saturn, and Jupiter for the expansion and growth. So I'm passionate about astrology and sharing it. I created this Astro-Oracle deck, which is planets and signs and houses. The actual planets are photographs from NASA. Here's the sun card. And to teach astrology, the colors, it's a color wheel. There's actually notes for each of the signs too. And also as a divination. So when I do a reading, I do 13 cards. I do the 12 zodiac signs. And then the 13th card is in the middle, the most significant. So what I really wanted to share was what I'm very passionate, excited about, is the appearance of the most furthest out planet in our solar system that we know of, that was discovered on March, actually it was first seen in 2003, when there was an incredible astrological event in November, I believe the 8th, called the Harmonic Concordance. Now that's different than the Harmonic Convergence, which was 1987, which was the start of the end of the Mayan calendar. But this was, astrologers called it the Harmonic Concordance because it created a 6-pointed star with what are called sextiles around it, which means that this 6-pointed star encompassed, was spiraling. And that was an eclipse as well. And the eclipse cycle that it was on had to do with, eclipse cycles are 12 to 1500 year cycles. So it's not like a normal new moon or full moon. It's a timeline that's happening for that long. So this timeline had to do with the Cathars, who were holding the real records of the Christ consciousness, and Mary Magdalene, and they lived like the Essenes, the divine feminine and masculine in perfect balance, and they were annihilated in this timeline. Okay. The other thing that happened on this timeline was that the Magna Carta was signed, which took the power away from the king to make it for the people. Okay, so this timeline, and the astronomers spotted who they named and announced in March 15th of 2004 as Sedna. So I had worked at the Sedna Heart Center for many years in Sedona as an astrologer. We did vortex tours, healings, and readings. And we had a big mother drum that probably 6 to 8 people could sit around. And as a service to the community, we would all take turns that worked there to do a prayer drumming circle at noontime, just as a service. And it happened to be my day to do the prayer drumming circle on March 15th, 2004. I had something to eat. I was washing the dishes, and I heard on the radio, the 10th planet has been discovered, and its name is Sedna. And I was so excited because I went to the Sedona Heart Center, and there were about 4 people around the mother drum, and I said, you know, I just heard this announcement that this 10th planet named Sedna has just been discovered, and being an astrologer, that this is a big deal because it's like we're ready to open our consciousness to this, whatever this is bringing in for us. So I'd like to dedicate the drumming to this. So when we did the drumming, I received the symbol that I believe Sedna gave to me. And this is the symbol that came to me. And as you can see, Sedna is like Sedona without the O. She's also known as a red planet way out there, which, as you know, Sedona is the land of the red rocks. First, I want to share how I went home and then looked up, who's Sedna? What's this Sedna? How did they get this? Because it's amazing how astronomers name these, and they take on the mythology. So there are many different mythologies, all with the same message. The only one I really remember, because I first read it, and I thought my symbol made so much sense, was that Sedna was born, she was the Arctic Inuit people's goddess of the sea. You know, they live on, you know, in dark a lot of the time and in light a lot of the time, in the frigid waters. They survive on everything from the ocean. So the mythology they have that I remember is that Sedna was a motherless child, or her mother died in childbirth, not sure exactly, but and then she would not marry any of the suitors that came to marry her, and the father said, "You're going to marry the next man that comes here." So this cloaked figure, this hooded figure comes, and the father says, "Oh, I have this beautiful daughter, Sedna. She cooks and cleans. Hi, goodbye." And then they leave, and he takes his hood off, and he's a raven. So he does what ravens do. He flies her to the nest, to his home in the nest, and goes hunting for dead meat and throws her dead cold meat, and she screams, and the father hears her, and he comes in his kayak to save her, and they're leaving, and the raven comes back and sees the kayak, and he tries to get Sedna back. Well, the father, to save himself, throws her out of the kayak, and when she tries to climb back on, he chops off her fingers, and from the blood of Sedna, all sea life is born. There was no sea life until Sedna's blood created all sea life. The dolphins, the whales, the seals, the turtles, all fish, all sea life was born out of the blood of Sedna's hands. And she lived at the bottom of the ocean as the goddess of the sea for the Arctic peoples, the Inuit peoples that live in Canada, Alaska, and the Arctic lands. It's not an easy place to live, and they count on the fish, all the sea life, to survive. So when the seas are rough, then the shamans of the tribe have to come out because they know that Sedna has been upset, that nature's been upset. and they can't fish when the water is wild like that. So they have to go and what they say is comb her hair. She has no fingers to brush her hair, so they have to, please Sedna, we're sorry that we've abused nature. Please calm down and let us eat, let us survive. So she's the goddess of the sea that feeds all the people, but she's unseen and unheard. Sedna's the furthest out, way out from Pluto, and that her cycle is almost 12,000 years. 12,000 years is a major time that we remember because it was the last time when it was a matriarchal society. And to me, Sedna, what she represents is the emergence of the divine feminine who's given birth. This is a feminine planet. All life is born of a female on this planet. So we're balanced in ourselves, male and female humans, but as we know, we come through our birth canal through the mother. So to me, Sedna being discovered, I made a card with the symbol that came to me. You can't see it very well because it's white, but here's the symbol. And I put on the card emergence because I feel that Sedna represents the emergence of the feminine from being unseen and unheard, cut off. You know, it's like, just feed us. We don't want to hear you. We don't want to see you. We just want you to feed us and keep us alive. Right? Well, this is the time for the goddess to know that our Earth Mother is feminine goddess and that she's asking us to honor our mother. We're all born of the Earth Mother. And to me, that's what Sedna is about. She's about emerging. Yes, you can imagine a 12,000 year cycle, so it's a very strange elliptical orbit that sometimes she'd be in a sign for maybe thousands of years. But she's so close to the Earth now, which is why they saw her during this amazing eclipse, special eclipse, called the Harmonic Concordance. And when I read the story of Sedna, I felt like it was Venus, kind of breech birth. You know, usually the cross is under here, but Venus and the moon, the ocean, giving birth, like she's emerging. It's hard for her to come up because she's been under the ocean for so long. So I love this symbol. And as you can see, the name Sedna is just like Sedona, but there's an O. And I feel that Sedona is the portal, the place or the portal of the new earth, the red earth, the Earth Mother that is giving birth now to the new earth. And this is that Sedna and Sedona, it's no accident that the names are so similar, that it's an O. And last year, Sedna in June went to 0 degrees Gemini. Okay, the 0 degree, lots of planets are going to the 0 degree. We've heard a lot about the 0 point, and it's the starting point. It's what activates things. So Gemini is the hands, and it's Mercury, the voice. So here's Sedna, who was cut off, not being able to be seen or heard, is coming to emerge to speak now. And a lot of astrologers are talking about Sedna now, and have been for the last few years, especially since she went into 0. Now she's gone back to 29 Taurus, so the 29 0 degrees is really the cusp, or the 29th degree is I'm completing the Taurian, the earth, and now I'm going into speaking for the earth. Okay, been in Taurus, the fixed earth sign ruled by Venus, about love. And now I'm going to share. I'm going to take my hands back. The feminine's going to be heard and seen, mainly because this is a feminine planet and we are here to honor our mother and all of her resources and not rape her or misuse her anymore. And that's the most important thing that I believe Sedna is here to share. I know this Alan Clay talks about Sedna as being the destiny, I think, of the soul. Yes, because the water, we're mostly water bodies, so she holds the Akashic records. The Akashic records are held in water. We're water beings. This is a water planet. There's more water than Earth. So here, the goddess of the sea. And I tell you, we better take care of our mother, or the goddess of the sea might cover us. And that makes me want to cry, because it's true. Because this is what the indigenous peoples are teaching us, are holding that it's not about how much you can get and who has the fanciest car and everything. It's about loving the earth and loving one another. I didn't even notice this until I did a reading for a young girl, and she had Sedna very prominent, and I had my cards, and she saw the symbols in the horoscope, and she said, "Oh, look, Sedna looks like Pluto." You know, Pluto, it has the same circle, but the cross is down here instead of up here. So I want to talk about Pluto, who went 0 degrees Aquarius on March 23rd of 2023. And this is the shift of the ages into the Aquarian Age. The Saturn-Jupiter on the winter solstice of 2020, and then right after spring equinox of last year, 2023, 0 Aquarius. Again, it's going to go back into Capricorn for one last time, and then it will be in Aquarius for 20 years. So to me, these are the signs in the skies that we're always told there will be signs in the skies. You know, we are part of the universe, and the universe is a part of us. And I think that's what we need to teach the children too, that the technology is not smarter than us. We have the technology within us. We're the light beings that came, you know. So yes, gifts that we can video, that we can see each other and talk. I remember hearing that in the 60s. Someday you're going to be able to see each other when you talk on the telephone, right? And now, I mean, look, and so we're going into the whole Aquarian Age with all this technology, but it's crystal. And the crystals are Uranian, which is the planet that rules the sign of Aquarius, and technology, awakening. Uranus brings cosmic consciousness. Like we're receivers, just like crystals. Crystals receive and transmit. There's no radio, there's no computer, there's no any video without a crystal chip. Okay, so that's important to know. And so the Aquarian Age is about friendship first. Okay, it's about communities, brotherhood, sisterhood coming together to create a better future for the future and future generations. That we're a community, we're a family of humanity, we're all equal. And so the other thing I want to talk about is when we went into the new decade of 2020, we know what happened. And every time that the planets Saturn and Pluto come together, which is every 38 years, there's always a global reset. World War I, World War II. Last time before 2020 was in 1980-81, Saturn and Pluto in Libra. It was AIDS, the whole globe. It affects everyone on the planet. So we knew that was going to happen. We didn't know it was going to be COVID, but we knew some big shift was going to happen. The other thing that began is that the first Pluto return of the United States. Okay, and that is a big deal, okay, because Pluto takes 248 years. So 1776, and then 248 years later, here we are, the Pluto return in the United States. I see that when cycles are so long that they take like a good few years. So I believe that the Pluto return of the United States began at that time, and until it's ending this year. And I believe you look at I'm not going to talk a lot about politics, but I think it's very important because the Pluto return of a nation, Pluto is always about destroying what does not serve evolution and humanity. And look at our political parties are so divided. So this is the time for independence. We the people. That's what, this nation was founded on, was to leave those, the revolutions that were happening, and to create a place that everyone is safe. The Statue of Liberty. Bring us your, I don't remember the whole thing, you're poor, you're homeless, let's take care of everyone. There's no reason that anyone should go without at this time in our history with all the technology. I hope that what I've shared has been useful to you. There's so much more. Next year we're going into a zero again with Saturn and Neptune. I could talk a lot more, but I'll stop here. But there's a lot of this, the ending of the old and the beginning of the new. And I have a lot of hope for the young people that have been born. So I hope you come to Sedna, the place of the emergence, the Red Rocks, this is a place of the portal. People are being called here. It's sacred land. And Sedna is here to give birth to this new earth. And Pluto and Aquarius, we're in the Aquarian Age. Like it really started this decade, the Aquarian Age. We are in it, but just at the zero. And it's not the easiest time. And it's going to be 20 years in Aquarius. And so, it can be a rocky year because when a new age is really starting, and that 29-0 that's been this year, you can see what's going on in the world. It brings up all this chaos, but the chaos is seeking order. It's seeking a new order, an order that serves all people and all humanity. And that's what Aquarius is about. Thank you. Namaste.